How's it going, everybody? Today, I'm going to be ranking Tyler, the Creator's entire discography from worst to best. How these discography videos work, I'm going to rank these from worst to best. Obviously, I'm going to give my entire thoughts on each album, what I love about the albums, what I hate about the albums, and I'm going to rate them out of 10. Tyler, the Creator is a really fun one to talk about, and not because he's one of my personal favorite rap artists, because he's such a divided rap artist in a way. I feel like you either really love Tyler, the Creator, or you hate him. It's like I don't see in-betweens online much. I see really often online with Tyler, the Creator. He is one of the most hated rap artists, to be honest, and that comes with all of the online controversies and his earlier music. But those same people, you know, they don't like Igor either. They think Igor's overrated. Call Me If You Get Lost is overrated. But then the fans of Tyler, the Creator are huge fans. They like damn near everything he has done. He also has one of the craziest artistic developments in rap history. I mean, just imagine in 2011 telling everybody in that rap fan base at the time that the guy that made Goblin, the guy that made Tron Cat, was going to make one of the most mind-blowing, genre-bending concept albums 8 years later. No one would have believed you. It is a genuinely insane development. So I have a lot to unpack today. Before I get into the ranking, I'm just going to say the Grinch EP is not being ranked in this video. So getting into the worst album in Tyler, the Creator's discography, this might not come to any surprise. It's Goblin. Once again, something that makes Tyler so unique is even his worst album is viewed as like the worst album of all time by some people, but then the best album of all time by some people. There are huge lovers of Goblin, and while I don't think it's an amazing album, I don't think it's a bad album either, man. With how divided this album is, I kind of am the guy that is in between, because I'm not going to tell you this is a good album, no, but I think there are highlights, there's, you know, positives you can pull out of this album, but you also have the most negatives out of any Tyler album. That comes with the lowlights. Number one, I mean, if you want to look at just track for track, BSD, I don't care that it's a joke song. It is atrocious. You want to look at Sandwiches, that's not listenable. Fish is not listenable in the slightest. Absolutely garbage. If you want to look lyrically, a lot of negatives here. The entirety of Tron Cat, it plays into the concept, but, or you could say like, oh, you just don't have the balls to stomach it. I used to listen to Tron Cat a lot as a little edgy high schooler, okay? So I can stomach it, but it's not a good song, okay? And lyrically, it is atrocious. You can just admit that. The lyrics of Transylvania, it is awful. So there are a lot of negatives with this album. I feel like they go low as low can be, the lowest in Tyler's catalog. But the positives of Goblin, the highlights, you cannot sit here and tell me Goblin is like a 2 out of 10 album. Number one, you can't tell me it's like the worst album of all time when it has She. And to people that think Goblin is better than Bastard because Bastard doesn't have a song as good as She, well, Bastard doesn't have a song as bad as BSD. I don't think that's like a good argument. You could say Sarah is, but no, Sarah's better than BSD, honestly. And I'll get into Bastard, but just looking at Goblin, I don't think the production is as great. I think it's a lot messier, a lot more obnoxious, and just lyrically, you can pull out so many more negatives than you can on Bastard. But anyway, like I said, highlights. If you want to look track for track, you do have She with Frank Ocean, one of the catchiest songs in Tyler's discography. You have Nightmare and Golden, and I'll tell you what, these are two actual amazing songs, and they're songs on an album that does feel super edgy and obnoxious that genuinely feel emotional. I like those songs a lot. I love the production of those songs, and I do like the atmosphere of this album because, you know, the production is not as good as it was on Bastard, no, but it still has a dark atmosphere that does make this album unique. And, you know, you look at the intro track, Goblin, the title track, that has a really dark horrorcore, like eerie atmosphere that, yes, it makes it unique, and it's reasons like that. I don't think that this is a bad album. This is not as generic as like some basic Gunna trap album. And with the concept of this entire album as well, I know it may come off just obnoxious and ridiculous and like as one of the worst concepts in music, but again, it is unique. It's really cool how this builds off of Bastard, and you have this whole trilogy of Bastard to Wolf to Goblin, but how it continues this like therapy session with his doctor and, you know, Dr. TC, and then how at the end of it ends up being just Tyler's thoughts. There is a lot of talent that comes into putting this concept album, and it's another reason why I say I'll take this over something generic. This still takes a lot of talent, even if it's not the best execution when it comes to what he wanted to say on the album lyrically. So yeah, Goblin has some good highlights. It has some insane lowlights. It is such a mixed bag, one of the biggest mixed bags you could find with an album. So I think it's a light 6 out of 10. I told you, I don't think it's a bad album. I don't think it's a good album. I think it sits in the middle ground. At number 8 though, yes, it's going to be Bastard. And to this day, I don't know if this is exactly a mixtape or his debut, because Goblin is like technically his first debut studio album. Bastard is self-released, but it doesn't appear as a mixtape online sometimes. I don't know. I actually have a lot of appreciation for Bastard. I talked about it a lot on Album of the Year with my review. I think it's a very unique project. Another thing that I praised Goblin for, if you go back to 2009 or even to like any projects nowadays, I will take a project like this with a lot of cool beats that are so unique and talented flows, a unique concept that actually stands out than just a generic mainstream commercial release. And Bastard shows Tyler's talent a lot.
Oh, Tyler showed off a lot of his talent on Bastard, Blaylock. Right, is a song about him kidnapping and R-wording a girl in his basement and then murdering her talent. Is that talent to you, Blaylock?
Well, no, that's not why I'm saying he has talent. The production of this is amazing. And even if, yes, a song concept like freaking Sarah is atrocious, lyrically it's bad, but as if you want to look at the terms of like technical rapping in his flows, it is impressive. He has good flows on this album. The aggression in his delivery feels a lot more authentic on Bastard, while on Goblin, it kind of feels at points he's kind of like trying to force it. Bastard feels like so much more authentic and actually so much more emotional. A song like 7, where he's opening up about his father's absence, and there's actually so much anger and passion in his voice, where you also have an incredibly hard-hitting, unique beat. That is a perfect song to me. The way that this project is framed as a therapy session, it is very cohesive, and for how early in Tyler's career it was, it is sequenced pretty great. How the outro track with Inglorious, he kind of reflects on it and comes to terms with it, while in the intro track, Bastard, he starts off the therapy session just, angry, pissed off. I love the sound of this project so much, man. It's that late 2000s sound. I love the cloud rap beats on here, like a pig's fly or a blow. The production is incredibly unique, man, and it has one hell of an atmosphere. I think that's what I enjoy the most out of this project. The beats. He had an ear for beats, so even on a song like Sarah, where if you want me to like rate it with the freaking lyrics and the song concept, 0, but when it comes to the production, that has a dark atmosphere that really fits that vibe. It has a really catchy beat. So yeah, with Bastard, I have it as a light 7 out of 10. I do think it is a better project than Goblin, and I enjoy a lot of the stuff on here. I really do. Like I said, with the beats, he showed his flows and his ability to put together a unique concept of a record. Has not aged the best though, and just awful lyrics that do hold this back from me giving this any higher of a rating. At number 7, I have his latest release, Don't Tap the Glass.
Blaylock, Tyler literally said don't rank this with the rest of his discography. You're the epitome of the stereotype. Just enjoy the album.
The video is ranking Tyler's discography.
Shut up!
I like this album. Do not start with that. I'm still going to rank it with the rest of his discography, even if Tyler tells me not to. Okay? I don't care. The entire purpose of this album is to have this kind of standout album in his discography where he's not having these deep concepts. He shed his mask on Chromacopia previously. So with his next album, he decided to just have some fun, bring some vibes to the table. He invites us into this dance pop inspired album where he just wants us to move and dance and have a fun time. Don't think about anything deep. Literally just have a fun time and enjoy the album. And that makes for a very simple album, but very enjoyable. There's not much to say about this album. It's probably the least to unpack with a Tyler album. I have it as a strong 7 out of 10. I have a lot of fun with it. I think he executed the vibe well. I mean, the production is great. Sonically, it's amazing, cohesive. The features that he brought in were perfect. But yes, it's not like some mind-blowing concept or anything. You can have fun with it on a summer day or anything, but like, I'm not gonna lie, an album like this would never touch my rotation on a winter day, and I don't think it ranks with like other albums in his discography. Number 6, I have his second most divided album, Cherry Bomb, or maybe his number 1 most divided album. Between this and Goblin, it's albums like this that you just cannot find in between. It's like you hate this album or you love it, and I'm more on the side of loving this album. I will defend this album. This is such an essential album for Tyler when it comes to his development, because this is the bridge between early Tyler and new Tyler. Without a record as messy and abrasive as this, do we get Flower Boy? Do we get Igor? We don't really get this. We don't know if we get the modern Tyler if it wasn't for this album. Like, this is important. And even with that aside, the album itself is such an enjoyable album. I love this idea of Tyler kind of using just this insane abrasive noise and messy mixing and just industrial beats to explode his old image, all the controversy. Time for him to move on with his career. I think that's a really cool idea. And I think sonically, again, I see why you could absolutely hate this, but the messiness of this I enjoy a lot. I mean, if you're an experimental rap fan, you probably enjoy this album. I mean, I'm not like the biggest experimental rap fan, but I'm just saying, if you have The Money Store by Death Grips as a 10 out of 10 album and Cherry Bomb as a 4 out of 10 album, you make no sense to me. There are so many different styles in this album, and it makes it for one kind of inconsistent and messy as hell album. But I said this also exactly on Album of the Year, and I'll say it here. Name an album that has a super beautiful, lush R&B track like Find Your Wings, a rap classic with freaking Kanye, Lil Wayne, and Tyler with Smuckers, and then this super like aggressive rock influence track with Death Camp. You cannot, literally, you cannot name another album that has that insane range of sounds. And I think there's just so many textures to this album, so many different elements thrown into the production. You get so much flavor out of it. There's moments where this explosion of sound can be too much, like on the title track, Cherry Bomb. The first half is damn near unlistenable for me, but the second half of that song is heaven. It is beautiful. It's one of my favorite moments on Cherry Bomb. Okaga CA is another huge highlight for me, a beautiful way to end off this album. I love the features thrown in here. The concept of this song, just beautiful to the ears. Pilot is an amazing industrial rap song. You have the brown stains of Darkis, Latifah, blah, 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 with Schoolboy Q. That is just super unique sonically. You have Effing Young Perfect, where the second half with Caliuchis, beautiful. The concept is it's a little like, what are we talking about? But it's a great song. There is so much to this album to where there's so much you could love about it, and then there's so much you could hate about it. I have it as a strong 7 out of 10, and maybe I would get it to the 8 out of 10 range if it wasn't held back so much, because you have Keep the O's, which is, it's unlistenable, it's terrible, it's Goblin low light level, and you have like Blow My Load. I like the instrumental, but it's just ridiculous. There's no time or place you can listen to Blow My Load. Run as well, just unnecessary. So yeah, very, very inconsistent album, but I enjoy it, and it's very, very important for his development. Number 5, I have his iconic 2013 album, Wolf. This is the best album from the early Tyler era, and this is a special album, man. This used to be like my personal favorite Tyler album. Like, maybe I wouldn't have told you it was his best album, but I listened to it more than any other Tyler album. I think it's just so much fun. There's nothing else I ever say about this album besides the concept is so much fun, the album is so much fun. Dude, it's just fun, okay? It's easy to say that and move on. Why do I say it's so much fun? Well, the concept is something completely different than literally anything else in rap, and there's nothing else in rap that's even like this. Even with Goblin and Bastard, how unique those concepts are. You have another unique concept, but it's not as obnoxious and ridiculous. It's more listenable. He has, you know, improved drastically as an artist in putting together an album and, you know, shying away from ridiculous, obnoxious lyrics. Like, besides maybe something goofy, cartoon inspired from The Far Side, name another album in rap ever that has this story of, you know, these different alter egos from Tyler with Wolf, Haley, and Sam, and then you have Salem and this like love story here where they're at this fictional Camp Flognaw, and you see this like battle between Sam and Wolf fighting for this girl, and you can see emotional growth in the album with both of these characters in the album. You see the growth from Wolf and Sam in this fictional Camp Flognaw story. You have so many emotions from heartbreak to love to just humor, a lot of introspection. I think the way Tyler delivered the emotions on this album is special, and I think it really is something just different from his discography because he doesn't have another album that just gives you all of this and this exact vibe. Such a unique narrative and concept, and then the other reason why I always say this album is just so much fun is just the track list, man. I feel like how I was saying, there's so many different ranges and vulnerability and emotions and, you know, song concepts. You start off with Jamba, okay? That's just a fun banger. Awkward is like a cool, reflective love song. You have Domo 23, just strictly a, you know, hard-hitting banger. You have Answer, iconic, amazing songwriting. 48, absolute banger, absolute summer vibe. You have Party Isn't Over, Campfire Beamer, with just so many different stories that are so essential for the concept of this album, and Colossus, just the fun story of that song. Rusty, insane banger with Earl. Like, I'm naming off the whole track list here, but this is why I just say that this album is so much fun. You're getting so much out of this album. It is sequenced so damn good as well, and it's an album like this that really shows his ability as an artist, because how complex this concept is. The fact that, you know, you have Tyler in this album, in this concept, but you have the alter egos of Wolf against Sam. You have Salem here. You have all these different fictional characters, but you have a super cohesive story that feels really cinematic. It doesn't feel splotched together. Everything flows amazing. And that is just where his album building ability really shows. I have this as a light 8 out of 10, and maybe it sounds like I could have been rating this higher for how much praise I'm giving, because I haven't really said any cons of the album. The only con that doesn't have me, rating this higher is just the fact that it is a bit bloated of an album, even though the concept is so cohesive. A song like Tree Home 95, essential for the concept, but doesn't really have any replay value for me. Or Parking Lot, bit of a boring song, very essential for the concept, but that is just, some songs like that, Slater and Pigs, that are, add a little bit of fatness to this album that hold it down a bit from being like a strong 8. At number 4, I have Chromacopia. This is going to be another very iconic album for Tyler's discography, even at this point. It's only been 2 years, but down the road, because this is where he really took off every mask, and this is like his most vulnerable album. But it's not vulnerable for a fictional story like Wolf is, because yes, that is very introspective, very vulnerable. This is true Tyler. This is not a love triangle with Igor, or that, the flog knock, narrative with Wolf. This is no fictional story. This is true Tyler looking at fear and growth in life, embracing vulnerability, reflecting on, the chance of him being a father in life, and the things that, like his mother getting older, like true topics that just feel like such a step up in just maturity and growth as not only an artist, but also a human being. It's like Tyler really trying to understand who he is. I feel like he took a lot of influence from Mr. Morale by Kendrick Lamar. It's just such a vulnerable, introspective, and just such an emotional journey of an album. And on top of that, how many emotions you're getting out of it, it has so much replay value. It is such an enjoyable album. The Daniel Caesar vocals thrown in here, and Tizo Touchdown on Darling I, obviously Saint Chroma with Daniel Caesar, such an amazing intro track. Noid, another track that has a really unique rock inspiration, but then you have this like neo psychedelia, these elements thrown into it at the second half where it feels like you're floating. As amazing as the songwriting is on like Take Your Mask Off or Like Him, those are not songs that just rely on amazing songwriting. Those are amazing songs, especially Take Your Mask Off. It literally might be my favorite from Chromacopia, but Like Him, one of the most mind-blowing songs in Tyler's career, because obviously we find out his mother was the one keeping his father away all this time. But Thought I Was Dead with Schoolboy Q. I mean, Schoolboy Q might have the best feature on this album. I think the outro track is really beautiful. I Hope You Find Your Way Home. I think it sums up the album really good. I love this album a lot. It is a fall vibe, and I feel like there's not another Tyler album that gives you like that fall vibe, because usually he's dropping in like the summer, springish. This was fall. This was something different. It's something different from Tyler's, everything else he has done in his career. I think it is a strong 8 out of 10. I don't like Sticky. I just felt like I needed to say that. I don't like Sticky. Nothing else needs to be said. I don't like Sticky. It is a fat skip. It is one of the most mid Tyler songs I have heard in a long, long time. And yeah, I think it does kind of, I wouldn't say it holds this album back actually, but it does give a fat skip that kind of affects how I feel about it. But I'm not saying I would be rating this album higher if Sticky wasn't on the album. If Sticky wasn't on the album, it's still a strong 8. But this album's close to a 9 out of 10. I will tell you that. Number 3, I have Call Me If You Get Lost. Now, there was a point I had Chromacopia above Call Me If You Get Lost. And my reasoning was Chromacopia is more consistent, because I did tell you that Call Me If You Get Lost has higher highlights. But I'm sorry, I enjoy Call Me If You Get Lost so much more. I have to place it above Chromacopia. Maybe the songwriting goes to Chromacopia, but for the vibe and the concept and that, this different style that Tyler is going for, the songwriting is just as perfect for this album. I can, Throw You Sweet, I Thought You Wanted to Dance. That is 10 out of 10 songwriting. I just enjoyed this album too much. I love the atmosphere and the vibe more. As incredible as Chromacopia is, this lavish, luxurious, travel inspired, or just travel vibe just summer beach album, like all these different summer vibes. That is awesome. That is so awesome. The atmosphere of this album is so freaking amazing. And I think it makes for like possibly the highest replayable Tyler album, because especially if you want to add the estate sale. I'm sorry, my rating for this album literally goes up with the estate sale, because the estate sale is fucking perfect. It's actually perfect. Stuntman, What a Day, Wharf Talk, like every song here is perfect to me besides Boyfriend Girlfriend, but that's still like a 9 out of 10 song. That's still amazing. Maybe Stuntman, but like, dude, everything's perfect here. Wharf Talk, one of my favorite Tyler songs of all time. The Tyler A$AP Rocky chemistry. What a Day, some of his most beautiful songwriting of all time with such a beautiful beat. Sorry Not Sorry. I don't even have to say anything about Sorry Not Sorry. The estate sale is one of the like best deluxes and add-ons to any album in rap history. How that enhanced this album experience is generational, but even looking at the original Call Me If You Get Lost, I think Sweet I Thought You Wanted to Dance is Tyler's best song this decade. I would probably rank it top 5, top 3 Tyler. I think that is such a mind-blowing, incredible song to keep my focus for 9 minutes and have so many different elements thrown into the production. You know, literally sounds like I'm on the beach, but then you have this emotional ending to it that is, you know, his final verse in this song is just incredible. The confidence of this album is another thing I love so much. I feel like this is the most confident that we have seen Tyler when it comes to his delivery, his rapping. It's like at this point, he knows how special of an artist he is. So much confidence in his rapping, putting this album together. He still has a lot of vulnerable moments on this album. I mean, look at freaking, not Wharf Talk, Will Shear. That is what, 7 minutes of just his straight thoughts. He freestyled Will Shear. That is, he did not write anything for that. He went into the studio and just spit for 7 minutes, you know, reflecting on like a relationship where he kind of took one of his best friend's girls, but then they didn't work out, blah, blah, blah. I often see people say that this is the best era of Tyler's music. This is the best sound. And I mean, I don't know if I would say that for sure, but I can see where you're coming from, because when it comes to this travel, luxurious, super lush soundscape and the entire vibe of this Tyler era and Tyler Baudelaire, and even just, you know, looking at things like the merch. I know that has nothing to do with the album, but it has something to do with this entire era and style. It was awesome, man. It was such an awesome album. I have it as a strong 8 out of 10 once again, and also once again, this is close to a 9 out of 10. And I'll tell you what, this is going to be a strong 8 to a light 9 out of 10, because this is an album where I could see myself bumping it up a bit in the future. The only reason it's not bumped up more, once again, there's just some songs on it that are not the biggest standouts to me. Run It Up, for example, nothing crazy there. And Lemonhead. Lemonhead is a big miss for me. I feel like that is honestly an underwhelming song, but the album's amazing. It's just slight tweaks like that's the reason it's not like a 10 for me. Moving on to number 2, though, I have Flower Boy. Wow, this might be the best album cover I've ever seen. Man, this is an album to talk about, though, because this is such a personal favorite for me. Through a dark time of my life, this was an album that was there with me. Like it just kind of resonated with me, and it always felt special to me. Like this album always had something so special to it, and maybe it is just the vulnerability that Tyler embraced on this album, because this at the time was also something different. It was not just him, you know, embracing like heartbreak and shit on these like fictional song concepts on Wolf. This is where he came out. This is where he was truly reflecting on his loneliness, like actually in his life and fame. This feels like the point where he really started to reflect on like actual like sadness and vulnerability and introspection in his life. And that leads to this being like the most heartfelt album in Tyler's discography. I was saying, and a lot of people were saying, that Chromacopia was like his most emotional work to date. But, you know, as we've sat with Chromacopia, I think I still choose Flower Boy as the most emotional and just introspective and mature Tyler album in his entire catalog. This was another important album for Tyler. This is more important than Cherry Bomb, because Cherry Bomb was not like, you know, well received by critics and shit. So Tyler had a lot of pressure on him. He went from Wolf and that early sound to Cherry Bomb, something different. How I was talking about Cherry Bomb being the bridge between early Tyler and new Tyler. This is the point where he became new Tyler. And this is the point where he really hit that mainstream success and became a whole different artist. The change in sound is insane. And name another development from, you know, going from this industrial, loud, messy album like Cherry Bomb to this super lush, like bright album like Flower Boy. Like this is just such a crazy difference in sound. And I think the elements in the production and all the textures, it makes this such a beautiful listen sonically. It is super cohesive. The album sounds exactly like the cover does. It's just lush, bro. Lush is the perfect word to describe this. Like it feels rich. It's so rich to the ears hearing the production of this album. But on top of that, the songwriting is just amazing. It's an amazing album experience. It's very vulnerable. The highlights, it's highlight after highlight, bro, with 911 Mr. Lonely. Glitter. Glitter is beautiful, bro. I love the beat there. Forward. The reflection there in the songwriting. Where This Flower Blooms, Steve Lacy and Frank Ocean. Boredom. Yeah, man, this is just a freaking phenomenal album. It's my 2017 album of the year. Light 9 out of 10. This shit is special. And yeah, number one comes to no surprise. It is Igor, one of the biggest modern day masterpieces in music. There are a lot of people that don't understand how actually impressive this album is, like genuinely deep down how mind-blowing this album is, because on the surface, you may not be a fan of this sound and this neo-soul, synth pop, funk sound, like all the different elements thrown here. If you're a pure rap fan, you might not be a fan of this sound, and that's all it takes for you to call this album overrated. You have to dive into this album. You have to look at breakdowns of this album and look into like the production of this and look at what Tyler did with this album to understand this is an like objectively talented album. And that's not like, I'm not saying this is objectively a good album. I love the fuck out of this album, so don't even start that. But I'm just saying it is albums like this, the tiny details that he threw into every second of this album, how he's using his voice as an instrument on this entire album. Now he's, pitching it up and down. And he's doing that with all these other features. Cardi's on this album and Uzi of Solange, and then so many other background features or vocals. You don't even know that they're there, but they're contributing to the soundscape of this album and all the different textures that Tyler threw into this. Like there is insane production detail. Like every song, you're gonna find these like tiny synth lines. You have this distorted bass and all these chopped samples. Every second, there is something happening that makes this such an insane album sonically, but it makes this just so impressive. There is always something happening in the soundscapes and the production of this album. So when you dive into that, that's where you understand, like, this is a modern day masterpiece. This is some of the best modern day production just in music. And the fact that people will say Tyler is like trash or something is just astonishing, because there's still so much more to talk about on this album. Obviously, the concept, bro, the sequencing is freaking perfect. This guy executed this concept 11 out of 10. There is not a moment wasted. There's not a moment that makes this concept feel like it's going off track. It is insanely cohesive, sequenced perfectly. It is super emotional. Every emotion feels so strong and authentic on this album. And for a love triangle and falling in love, you have those rich emotions like actually falling in love with I Think. You have the emotions of just pure heartbreak, Gone, Gone, Thank You. Are We Still Friends? Just reflecting on being friends. I didn't know what else to say there, but there's just so much emotion, man. Every emotion that you go through falling in love is in this album. He was able to balance perfect production with a perfect executed concept, with every emotion and love possible, and all this experimentation with these features, the storytelling. He was able to balance literally everything and make this such a listenable, enjoyable album. I can already smell the comments on this video also. Oh my gosh, holy Glaze, holy Tyler Glaze, holy Igor Glaze. This guy was sponsored by Golf Wang. But I'm just keeping it real with you, man. It is true. Every ounce of respect Igor has ever gotten was well deserved. And guess what? I'm about to rate this album out of 10. A strong 9. It still doesn't get the 10. Genuinely, what could your reasoning be not giving this a 10 out of 10? With everything you just said, Blaylock, just give it the 10. Stop being scared to give 10 out of 10s. Bro, I'm not scared to give 10s. Name one person that has given Sylvia Demo a 10. I'll tell you what, the reason that this is a strong 9, and I'm talking about a strong 9. This is a different strong 9 than like maybe like a strong 9 I'll give in the future or something. And the reason comes down to my reason that I don't have this as a 10. I Don't Love You Anymore. Now, the reason I'm saying it is a stronger strong 9 is because I Don't Love You Anymore is still essential to the concept. It's perfect. It's impressive. but I don't enjoy the song like everything else on this album. It's just not a perfect song. So you're still getting positives out of it. It's not like an unnecessary song, but it's just, again, it just stands out as not necessarily a perfect song for me. It's literally like that, why I don't have this as a 10 out of 10. But how impressive this album is and the concept, I could still give it the 10. I guess I'll tell you, like, I don't think What's Good is perfect either, but it's not the 10, man. Maybe one day I'll like be like, okay, I'm just gonna give this the 10 straight up. But right now, it is a strong 9 out of 10. And yeah, that's gonna be it for this video, ranking Tyler, the Creator's entire discography from worst to best. Let me know your thoughts on my rankings and what you would change. I really appreciate you all for watching this video and sticking till the end. Also, let me know which artist discography I should rank next. These are all the rappers I have done so far, and then obviously including Tyler. But yeah, drop the comments. Who do you want to see next? But yeah, I hope you all have a great day. Check out some more of the content and dive into the social media.